I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't want to shoot that. It's too corny. It'll never work.
From Runaway Bride to Chicago, Richard Gere has graced our screens for almost 2 decades as one of Hollywood's biggest stars. After the cult classic rom-com Pretty Woman, Gere was further catapulted into fame, cementing his role as the industry's leading heartthrob throughout the 80s and 90s. But as well as his acting achievements, he has kept the world guessing over the years thanks to the ups and downs of his love life. Recently becoming a father again at the age of 70 with his third wife, Alejandra Silva, the life story of Richard Gere is a true inspiration both on and off screen. Join us as we delve into the life of this iconic actor as he finally opens up about the truths we've all long suspected. Richard Gere's upbringing was marked by simplicity and contentment. As the eldest son in a large family, he shared a close bond with his many siblings, enjoying a harmonious family life fostered by his open-minded parents. Unlike some parents who push their children towards specific career paths, Gere's parents encouraged him to explore his interests freely, allowing him to discover his passion for the performing arts from a tender age. However, acting wasn't always his primary focus. Beyond acting, Richard Gere displayed a multifaceted talent and deep passion for music early on. He devoted considerable time to honing his musical skills, mastering various instruments, and eventually incorporating his own music into iconic movie scenes. Yet, Gere's artistic pursuits didn't end there. In addition to his musical talents, Gere showcased remarkable athleticism as a graceful gymnast. His proficiency in gymnastics earned him a scholarship to the University of Massachusetts, highlighting his versatility and dedication to physical fitness. However, despite his academic achievements and athletic prowess, Gere's true calling seemed to lie elsewhere, leading him away from traditional education and toward his burgeoning interests. Following his decision to leave college, Gere ventured into the world of theater, finding his footing at the Seattle Repertory Theater, where he secured his first professional roles. His journey in the performing arts led him to the Provincetown Playhouse on Cape Cod in 1969, where he showcased his acting prowess in productions like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. After dropping out, Gere found his footing at the Seattle Repertory Theater and Provincetown Playhouse. His first big break came when a director cast him in a role for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. But it was a few years later that he truly hit the jackpot, combining his musical talents and acting prowess in one of the most iconic productions of all time. When you think of Danny Zuko from Grease, John Travolta in his black leather jacket probably springs to mind. However, did you know Gere played the role years before Travolta made it famous? He originated the role of Danny Zuko on a London stage, delivering a stellar performance that opened doors to numerous other opportunities. But the real turning point came when Hollywood came knocking. Unfortunately, his journey there wasn't as smooth sailing as one might hope. Gere quickly learned that not everyone clicks, especially after landing his very first movie role. The Lords of Flatbush, released in 1974, was initially set to star Richard Gere alongside Sylvester Stallone. However, it became evident early on that the two actors weren't exactly on friendly terms. They could have put aside their differences and completed the movie if it weren't for one significant incident. It all boiled down to a seemingly trivial matter: lunch. Stallone was enjoying a hot dog in the back seat of a Corolla when Gere decided to join him with his own chicken and mustard. Allegedly, Sly lost his cool when the mustard accidentally stained his clothes, resulting in Gere losing his role just like that. Ouch. And the animosity didn't stop there, but we'll delve into that later. Fortunately, Gere found other directors eager to collaborate with him. Audiences finally witnessed his big screen debut in Looking for Mr. Goodbar in 1977. Though his role was small, his undeniable talent and charming charisma shone through, establishing him as a heartthrob. And this wasn't the last time he'd take on such roles. It's not difficult to understand why Gere found himself typecast for a while. I mean, just look at him. He appeared in several mature-rated films until the mid-'80s, including American Gigolo, Breathless, No Mercy, and Beyond the Limit. Luckily, he proved to be more than just a pretty face, delivering standout performances in many of these films. Interestingly, some of his most renowned films shared a common thread. Some of Gere's successes were roles that others initially passed on. Remember how Travolta snagged the Danny Zuko role that Gere had already played on stage? Well, that wasn't the only time Gere found himself in that situation. Throughout his career, he ended up taking on 4 roles that Travolta had turned down, and each of those films turned out to be a major hit. It seems like Lady Luck was smiling upon Richard Gere as well. Interestingly, Gere's first film actually came out after his second one. Days of Heaven, which was the very first film he acted in, was a role that Travolta had declined. It was released a year after Looking for Mr. Goodbar, because of a 2-year editing process. Despite the delay, Days of Heaven turned out to be a huge success, with the director even winning an award at Cannes. However, it was Gere's next film that truly solidified his fame as a leading man and Hollywood heartthrob. Yet he was incredibly close to missing out on that opportunity altogether. Gere's breakthrough as the lead in American Gigolo, 1980, almost didn't happen. Before writer-director Schrader offered him the role, it had been considered for several big names, including Harrison Ford, Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Initially, the role was even offered to John Travolta and then to Christopher Reeve. Gere ended up being a sort of consolation prize, but as it turned out, he was a perfect fit for the part. Choosing Gere turned out to be a smart move for the director as well. While Travolta was asking for $2 million and Reeves for $1 million, Gere agreed to do the film for a mere $35,000. He was simply eager for the opportunity. Despite feeling vulnerable during the undressing scenes, Gere was drawn to the role because it allowed him to explore a character he wasn't familiar with. "I don't own a suit. I don't speak any languages. I wanted to immerse myself. I just dove in," he admitted. Gere's next film turned out to be his biggest success, catapulting him into the role of a romantic hero. An Officer and a Gentleman hit screens in 1982, and Gere initially took the role solely for the paycheck, unaware of its potential to become a blockbuster. Despite his initial motivations, he fully committed to the character, even undergoing rigorous karate training to convincingly portray a Navy officer. His performance garnered admirers from unexpected quarters. Richard Gere certainly didn't anticipate recognition when he ventured into the jungles of Borneo to spend time with the Dayak tribe. To his astonishment, the tribespeople immediately recognized him, enthusiastically calling out, "Officer Gentleman!" This unexpected encounter led Gere to realize his status as an international star. However, not everyone involved in the film shared the same admiration for him. Despite their on-screen chemistry in An Officer and a Gentleman, Deborah Winger and Richard Gere didn't exactly hit it off behind the scenes. Winger famously referred to Gere as a brick wall, while Gere himself acknowledged the presence of tension between them. Adding fuel to the fire, Gere felt somewhat slighted when the Academy overlooked him for a nomination while nominating Winger. Fortunately, time healed their differences, and in recent years, Gere has spoken highly of his former co-star. Yet not every rivalry was so easily resolved, particularly when it came to his ultimate rival, Sylvester Stallone. Despite their mutual dislike, could Gere and Stallone manage to steer clear of each other's paths? Absolutely not. Their worlds collided at a dinner hosted by Elton John in honor of Lady Diana, and it wasn't long before tensions flared. You see, both Gere and Stallone had their sights set on the recently separated Princess of Wales. With both Hollywood heartthrobs vying for her attention, it seemed inevitable that one would come out on the losing end. But who would it be? Gere's reputation as a heartthrob wasn't unfounded, and his rapport with Lady Diana certainly didn't go unnoticed. Stallone, however, was less than pleased. His irritation with Gere's charms reached a boiling point at the party. almost escalating into a physical confrontation before Stallone stormed out, muttering about not wanting to be in the same room as Prince fucking Charming. Gere's upbringing in a Methodist household shaped his early beliefs, but his academic pursuit of philosophy in university led him down a different path. Immersing himself in Buddhist teachings, he soon found resonance in Zen Buddhism, which he practiced fervently for a couple of years. However, it was a pivotal visit to the Dalai Lama that truly transformed his spiritual journey. In 1978, accompanied by his girlfriend Sylvia Martins, Gere embarked on a journey to Nepal. There, they encountered numerous Tibetan monks, igniting Gere's curiosity about Tibetan Buddhism. This curiosity led them to India, where they had the profound opportunity to meet the Dalai Lama himself. This encounter left an indelible mark on Gere, inspiring him to become not only a devoted follower, but also a vocal advocate for Tibetan Buddhism and human rights causes. Despite the tempting offers from Hollywood, including leading roles in blockbuster films like Die Hard and Wall Street, Gere made a conscious decision to step away from the glitz and glamour to focus on his spiritual and humanitarian pursuits. He dedicated himself to fact-finding missions in conflict-ridden regions like Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Honduras, documenting the impact of armed conflicts on local communities. Many speculated whether this shift signaled the end of Gere's Hollywood career, but fate had other plans. Despite the eventual success of his next film, Gere initially had reservations about Pretty Woman. However, it only took one persuasive encounter to change his mind. Just as he was about to decline the role over the phone, Julia Roberts, already cast as the female lead, slipped him a crucial post-it note. Upon reading Julia's note, Gere had a change of heart and accepted the role. The post-it simply read, "Please say yes." Acting in Pretty Woman turned out to be one of the best decisions of his career, allowing him to showcase not only his acting prowess, but also his musical talents. In the film, Gere performs his very own composition. Yet, this wasn't the last time audiences would witness his musical abilities. Gere would later showcase his musical talents in films like The Cotton Club and Runaway Bride. However, while on the set of Pretty Woman, Gere found himself navigating the challenges of working with an anxious leading lady. If you've seen Pretty Woman, you likely recall the intimate love scene where Gere and Roberts lay entwined in bed. What you might not know is that Roberts was incredibly nervous during the filming of that scene. In fact, her anxiety was so palpable that a vein popped out on her forehead, sparking a moment of panic. Gere, ever the gentleman, sprang into action to reassure her. Both he and director Gary Marshall rushed to her side, gently massaging her forehead in an attempt to calm her down. Unfortunately, the ordeal didn't end there. Roberts then broke out in hives, requiring the application of calamine lotion before they could proceed with filming. Fortunately, as the shooting progressed, Roberts grew more at ease. But this wasn't the final collaboration between Gere and Roberts. Despite the immense success of Pretty Woman, Gere, Roberts, and director Gary Marshall made a pact to never create a sequel unless all three of them were involved. Nearly a decade later, they reunited for a completely different project, a light-hearted romantic comedy titled The Runaway Bride. While fans may have hoped for a sequel to the beloved Pretty Woman, it was a promise they decided not to break. A good-looking man in showbiz is sure to attract attention from the ladies, and Gere was no exception. A notorious ladies' man, he had his fair share of romantic entanglements. He maintained long-term, on-off relationships with women like Penelope Milford and Sylvia Martins, while also enjoying flings with fellow co-stars such as Tuesday Weld, Barbara Streisand, Tina Chow, and Padma Lakshmi, among others. And his charm didn't just work on single women. Both Kim Basinger and Priscilla Presley's exes alleged that Gere had been involved with their partners while they were still together. However, there came a point when it seemed like Gere was ready to bid farewell to his bachelor lifestyle and settle down. Enter supermodel Cindy Crawford. Despite their notable 17-year age gap, sparks flew between them, and they embarked on a relationship that culminated in marriage in Las Vegas in 1991. Yet despite the glitz and glamour of their union, Gere's new wife harbored some unexpected disappointment. Cindy Crawford had always envisioned a grand and glamorous wedding, but fate had other plans. Instead of walking down the aisle in a stunning white gown, Crawford found herself donning a navy blue suit for her nuptials with Gere. To add to the unconventional nature of their ceremony, the couple exchanged makeshift tinfoil rings, highlighting the impromptu nature of their union. While it may not have been the fairy tale wedding Crawford had dreamed of, little did they know that far greater challenges lay ahead. Navigating rumors in today's age of social media can be daunting, but back in the 90s, Gere and Crawford faced a whole different level of scrutiny. As one of Hollywood's hottest couples, they were constantly bombarded with rumors, the most persistent of which suggested that both Gere and Crawford were gay and that their marriage was nothing but a sham. The whispers grew so deafening that the couple felt compelled to address the allegations head-on. In a bold move to combat the relentless onslaught of rumors, Gere and Crawford took decisive action. They placed a full-page advertisement in the London Times, using the platform to refute the slander and reaffirm their commitment to each other. In the ad, they expressed their unwavering love and highlighted their support for various causes, including AIDS research and LGBTQ rights. Despite their efforts to set the record straight, trouble was already brewing in paradise. Gere's marriage to Crawford spanned over 4 years, but ultimately it succumbed to external pressures rather than the relentless gossip. The couple's jam-packed schedules, significant age differences, and divergent career aspirations gradually drove a wedge between them. Despite their genuine affection, they found themselves drifting apart, and in 1995, they made the difficult decision to part ways. For Gere, the end of his marriage to Crawford marked a significant personal setback. It would be quite some time before he found himself ready to embark on another chapter of commitment and companionship. Throughout the 1990s, Gere's star continued to rise as he churned out successful films that resonated with audiences. Hits like Primal Fear, The Jackal, and Runaway Bride showcased different facets of his talent, further cementing his popularity. However, amidst his thriving acting career, Gere made a bold and unexpected move, one that would thrust him into the spotlight in a different capacity. Known for his outspoken nature and unwavering commitment to his beliefs, Gere found himself embroiled in controversy during the announcement of the 1993 Academy Award nominees. In a daring display of activism, he chose to condemn the Chinese government for their occupation of Tibet. This bold stance sparked outrage and backlash, drawing the ire of authorities and critics alike. Gere's outspokenness came at a cost, and the repercussions were severe. Yet, despite facing criticism and adversity, he remained steadfast in his convictions, refusing to back down from advocating for causes he believed in. Gere's outspokenness certainly didn't sit well with the Chinese government, prompting Hollywood to take action in an attempt to appease them. They retaliated by banning Gere from participating in the Oscars that year, stripping him of his presenter duties. However, even his exclusion from the prestigious event failed to deter Gere. Unwavering in his convictions, he remained resolute in his stance against the Chinese occupation of Tibet, a stance he continues to uphold to this day. Since embracing Tibetan Buddhism, Gere has been driven by clear goals and a deep sense of purpose. He has been a vocal advocate for human rights in Tibet, lending his voice to raise awareness and demand justice for the Tibetan people. Additionally, Gere supports Survival International, an organization dedicated to safeguarding the rights and territories of indigenous tribal communities worldwide. But his philanthropic efforts extend beyond human rights activism. Gere is also passionate about ecological conservation and raising awareness about AIDS. He has been actively involved in various initiatives aimed at protecting the environment and promoting AIDS education and prevention. In fact, he went a step further by establishing an AIDS care home in India, underscoring his commitment to making a tangible difference in the lives of those affected by the disease. However, amidst his tireless efforts to change the world for the better, Gere found someone who would profoundly impact his own life. Cupid's arrow can strike unexpectedly, and for Gere, it appeared that love had eluded him for quite some time. However, after 7 years of waiting, he finally encountered a woman who ignited a profound connection within him. That woman was Carrie Lowell, an actress and fellow Buddhist, best known for her role as the Bond girl in License to Kill. Despite skeptics predicting the relationship's demise, they were proven wrong. In fact, a significant milestone brought Lowell and Gere even closer together. After several years of dating, the couple embarked on a monumental journey together: parenthood. In 2000, they welcomed their son, Homer James Jigme Gere, into the world. Honoring both their fathers, they bestowed upon him a name that carried familial significance. Gere added the Tibetan name, Jigme, meaning fearless, before his surname. At the age of 50, Gere confessed that he had always harbored desires of fatherhood, but had yet to find the right partner to share that journey with. It seemed that the Hollywood heartthrob had finally found contentment and stability, but uncertainties lingered. Had he truly found his happily ever after? 2 years following the birth of their son, Gere and Lowell made the decision to formalize their commitment to each other by exchanging vows in 2002. For Gere, it marked his second marriage, while Lowell had been married twice before. With a young son to raise together, their union appeared to signal a lasting commitment. However, as history has shown, permanence in Hollywood can be elusive. Despite the potential challenges of balancing family life with a thriving career, Gere remained dedicated to his craft. At the turn of the century, he delivered several notable performances, fueled by his unwavering work ethic. 2 particular roles demanded significant physical dedication. In Chicago, he devoted 3 months to mastering tap dancing, while for Shall We Dance, he spent 8-hour days over 2 months perfecting ballroom dancing. In between filming and honing his skills, Gere cherished the precious moments spent with his growing family. Regrettably, Gere's on-screen triumphs did not translate into lasting success in his personal life. Their split marked another disappointment in Gere's romantic life, but the ensuing divorce proceedings proved to be even more tumultuous. Unable to reach an amicable agreement, Gere and Lowell found themselves embroiled in a bitter legal battle that dragged on for 3 arduous years. Eventually, their divorce was finalized, granting them shared custody of their son, but severing any remaining ties between them. However, Gere's romantic misfortunes didn't deter him for long. During a rally in Jaipur to promote AIDS awareness, Gere found himself at the center of controversy when he decided to showcase his ballroom dancing skills alongside his Bollywood co-campaigner, Shilpa Shetty. Their impromptu dance performance, complete with a cheeky kiss on Shetty's cheek, sparked outrage among certain observers. Matters escalated to the point where a local court charged them with violating public obscenity laws, raising questions about the potential repercussions for Gere. Fortunately, the court deemed the case against Gere and Shetty as frivolous, allowing Gere to freely travel in and out of the country without further hindrance. While Gere acknowledged his intention to captivate the audience's attention and redirect it toward the crucial message of HIV prevention, he extended a heartfelt apology to the Indian public, emphasizing that he had never intended to cause offense. Following his divorce, Gere found himself drawn to the captivating Alejandra Silva, a Spanish activist who happened to be 33 years his junior. For Gere, the attraction was undeniable. Silva possessed intelligence, charm, and shared many of his interests, making it an easy decision for him. However, despite their mutual attraction, Silva initially played hard to get as their romance blossomed. Right from the outset, Silva remained unfazed by Gere's advances, showing little interest in being a part of his fan circle. Undeterred, Gere persisted in his pursuit, showering her with exquisite bouquets of flowers and even serenading her with heartfelt songs. His persistent displays of affection gradually began to thaw Silva's initially frosty demeanor, eventually leading to the blossoming of their romance. After a period of courtship, the ecstatic couple exchanged vows in 2018 at a picturesque Italian resort nestled along the stunning Amalfi Coast. Their wedding celebrations continued with a private, Indian-inspired ceremony held a month later. Adorned with tents from Jaipur and flags representing Tibet, the event exuded cultural richness and symbolism. Adding a touch of whimsy, the bride and groom made a grand entrance to the venue aboard a tuk-tuk. It appeared that Gere had finally found his true love. In an interview with The Times, Gere reflected on the intensity of his connection with Silva, describing it as a transformative experience that brought him unparalleled happiness. Despite his long-standing association with the serene principles of Buddhism, Gere confessed that it was only through his marriage to Silva that he truly found inner peace. Similarly, Silva shared her sentiments about finding purpose and clarity through her relationship with Gere. She expressed how meeting him had illuminated her path and brought newfound meaning to her life. Their union symbolized a harmonious blend of two souls finding solace and fulfillment in each other's presence, reaffirming Gere's belief in the transformative power of love and companionship. Richard Gere and Alejandra Silva's journey of love and blessings took an unexpected turn in August 2018 with a joyous announcement that left their fans elated. Silva took to her Instagram page to share a heartwarming photo of herself and Gere visiting the Dalai Lama, accompanied by a surprise revelation: the presence of a blossoming baby bump. "A very special moment just a few minutes ago," she wrote, expressing their gratitude for receiving blessings for their forthcoming bundle of joy from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Their joy reached its peak in February 2019 when they welcomed their son, Alexander, into the world, marking Gere's return to fatherhood at the remarkable age of 70. Their happiness was further compounded when Hola magazine revealed in 2020 that the couple had expanded their family once again, this time with the arrival of another son. Throughout Silva's pregnancies, the couple opted for a low-profile approach, choosing to shield their growing family from the prying eyes of the media. They celebrated the births in the intimate setting of their home in Pound Ridge, New York, where they had also exchanged vows in a blissful wedding ceremony. At 71 years old, Gere embarked on the journey of fatherhood anew, embracing the challenges and joys that come with raising children with the same grace and composure that characterizes his approach to life. Reflecting on this new chapter of his life, Gere exuded contentment and gratitude. "I'm the happiest man in the universe," he shared with Hello magazine, expressing his profound appreciation for his wife's virtues and their shared commitment to making a positive impact in the world. However, even as Gere embraced this newfound romance, his outspoken political views often found him at odds in certain circles. Gere's unapologetic stance against China's policies has not only resulted in his banishment from the Academy Awards, but has also earned him the ire of Chinese authorities. He further aggravated tensions by publicly advocating for a boycott of the 2008 Beijing Olympics. As a vocal supporter of the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan cause, Gere has found himself at odds with the Chinese government, resulting in a lifetime ban from entering the country and a diminishing presence in Hollywood. Despite the limitations imposed upon him, Gere remains pragmatic about his situation, finding solace in the creative freedom afforded to him in independent films. However, he expresses empathy for others who face repercussions for opposing the Chinese regime. On one occasion, he was poised to collaborate with a Chinese director, only for the director to retract due to fears that his family would suffer consequences if he proceeded. Adding to the enigma surrounding Gere is a bizarre and unfounded rumor involving him and a gerbil. This outlandish tale has persisted over the years, with even Gere's longtime rival, Sylvester Stallone, acknowledging its existence. Stallone, in an attempt to distance himself from the tabloid fodder, addressed the rumor, denying any involvement in its propagation. Despite the absurdity of the allegation, it has persisted in popular culture, fueling speculation and adding yet another layer to the ongoing rivalry between Stallone and Gere.